speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. Hey, we're both in red today. That's good. Coordinated for the first time ever.
Matching.
Ty, we have a really busy show. 4 guests on the network today. It starts at 12:15. We will talk to Justin Kosek, the head coach of the Springfield girls soccer team that has owned that MVAC for the last several years. And then at 12:30, it'll be Sarah Lowe to kick off our volleyball coverage. She will come in to preview Beaver Locals volleyball season. And then at 1 o'clock, Heather Guthrie, the head coach of Lakeview Volleyball, will be joining us. And then rounding off the guest today, Ricky Pollinori, Waterloo boys soccer head coach, will be joining us as well at 1:30.
Exciting to get a little bit into that MVAC soccer scene as well as volleyball around the area. So a packed show today for our local sports.
This is our first chance to talk to volleyball coaches. You know, they wanted to wait until after tryouts were done. Roster should be set by now. Tryouts were Monday through Wednesday for most teams, so everyone should know their varsity roster and kind of get a better idea what their rotation might be coming up in a week from 2 weeks from Saturday is the start of volleyball season.
It's crazy how rapidly sports are approaching. And technically, and we were talking about it, fall sports technically kicks off today in the golf.
Yes, should say it tees off today because golf is officially underway. And the first ball that goes off the tee will officially signify the start of the 2022 fall sports season.
It's in the air. It's in the air.
It's dropping on the green, and it's close to the hole.
We get excited though as we continue to provide the wide range of sports coverage too in the soccer scene, in the volleyball scene, and football scene with more coaches corners coming your way today.
Coming your way. And then, of course, Latonia Football Coach's Corner got taken care of by DJ yesterday. You can find that on our YouTube page or our website. That's a great interview by DJ there. So head over to ysnlive.com to check out the football preview with Latonia.
Yeah, it's so exciting too. Exciting. They have another football preview too, and you can double that down too with WFMJ's Muscle Connection too, that they have constantly been doing with football teams too. So tag teaming it for your football coverage with YSN and WFMJ as well.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Springfield girls soccer to lead things off. Ty, like I said at the top, this is a girls soccer program that has dominated the conference in the last several years. And it's someone that kind of still goes under the radar a little bit on the area scope of soccer because of the success that we do have on the soccer field in the Youngstown area.
And Springfield usually has just really good athletic teams anyway. They just know sports. The Tigers, they know how to earn their stripes year to year. The younger ones learn from the older ones, and that's what you're kind of looking for this year again. I'm excited to see, because Springfield is never a team that you count out in any sport. So I'm excited to see what they have in store for this season.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. You'll look at their their resume. Last year, they went to the district semifinals. They were 13-3-2 on the year. They have the ninth-year head coach in Justin Kosek, who we will be talking to. They're going to be returning 8 starters and 10 letter winners from last year's team. The player to watch, Brianna Holt, will return 15 goals last season, 9 assists, second team all district and second team all conference. You're also going to have Ava Vecchione, who returns with 9 goals, 4 assists, second team all district, first team all conference. And then you're going to have Caitlin Capelli, who returns with 135 saves last year. She was all district and second team all conference. Only 3 seniors are returning starters. So this is going to be a team that is kind of learning from the success that it's had in the past.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. And you look at what Springfield always has competing wise. That MVAC is not a pushover at all. It's always a tough conference, it seems like, too, and that always brings the heat season to season. So I expect no different. Like you said, Anthus was a good team last year, 13-3-3, 10-1-1 in the conference. So they really had their way with the conference. But Waterloo was right there. We got the one side of it. That's going to be exciting to get the other side of what we expect to be a very competitive conference.
Looking at their roster, 5 seniors total, and then they have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, excuse me, 6 juniors. So 11 upperclassmen total. Only 1 freshman that I see on the roster. So 1 freshman and then a handful of sophomores. It's going to be an upperclassman heavy roster.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the returning seniors that they have too. I mean, you got Ava Vachon. You mentioned first and foremost. That's going to be a huge one. I think when she gets Brianna Holt. You mentioned it, when you have these kind of senior leaders too that have been there, done that, like you said, made a nice little run in the tournament last year. It's going to be beneficial for them going into this season, being able to not only have their time in the sun, but also be able to bring up some of these younger girls too and show them the ropes.
They did lose a couple of really important seniors. I remember last year we had those seniors on as a player profile together, and I remember they called out the football team to come to their soccer games and set up a student section.
Yep, and I mean they did. They brought the heat, from what I understood. The football team did.
That was one of the most entertaining interviews I think we had last fall season. Was the one with all the girls soccer player, all the seniors from the girls soccer team from Springfield on together, because they kind of not only did they have fun with it, but they kind of poked fun at some other athletes and tried to get them to get engaged with their own sport. And I think Bo Snyder stepped up pretty well and got them a pretty good student section. He was the one that was called out.
Yeah, he was, and he delivered. He definitely delivered.
Gave us something to keep tabs on all season. Every time we talked to Justin Kosik over the year, we were like, "Hey, how's that student section going?"
Yeah, exciting to get him on too, to kind of kick off this season and talk to him again. I mean, Kosik, like you said, was almost, it felt like a regular for Running Point last year. So back into the fall sports scene, we get to kick it off with Springfield head soccer coach.
So they're going for their 4th straight MVAC title. They are back-to-back champions. And I think when you have some solid competition on their schedule, Coach Kosek going into his 9th season, he's obviously been there, done that. They got to the regional semis in 2019, but they're 2 years in a row they've been knocked out in the district semis. So they're looking to get back to a district championship as well that they had 2 years ago. I guess you could say 3 years ago now.
Yeah, COVID definitely made that one season a little bit weird at the soccer scene too, right? But it's been a nice ride though for Springfield, and they're just looking to continue that kind of winning tradition on multiple sports, right? I mean, you look at the big seniors that were lost out of the class. It wasn't just in the football scene; it was actually in the football scene too, as well, over there in Tiger Country. But they still have plenty of underclassmen at the time that are going to be stepping up into their first upperclassmen season, and a lot of juniors that are now seniors this year that are ready and I think able to kind of carry that torch, if you will, into another successful year for Springfield Tiger Athletics.
Ty, before we get to Coach Kosek in a little bit, I want to get to the social media question of the day that was put out on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. What team, and this is for everyone, so leave a comment, let us know what you think about this question. What local high school team, and it just is team, so you can pick any sport, will win a state championship in 2022-2023. So pick any team that you think has the best chance to win a state championship in the area in the YSN family, whether it be a soccer team, a cross country team, a volleyball team, football team. It could even go into basketball or baseball, softball, because it does say 2022-2023. But, we want to keep it in pocket, try to keep it fall. But if you think that this year there's a really good softball team or a really good baseball team coming up, or you think one of the basketball teams is coming up with a really strong class, then throw their name in the pot as well. But I want to know from you, the fans, what team has the best chance of winning a state championship this year? What area team has the best chance? Ty, what are your kind of thoughts on this?
There's a number of ways you can go, I think, in the football realm too. South Range, now that Kirtland's kind of out of the way, is an intriguing thought. I think Springfield, even though they lost a decent amount going down to Division 7, is also pretty intriguing as a school to look at. I mean, JFK is going to be that team.
They'll have to deal with JFK now.
Yeah, that is the team that's going to be in the way, but what a matchup that would be. But Springfield going down to Division 7 is pretty intriguing. Volleyball scene, I don't know. I feel like Crestview, how can you not kind of want to rally behind Crestview the way that Crestview was out last year? You kind of want to rally behind these Rebels to get it done too on the volleyball scene.
And I know they did lose a couple of important seniors. Most importantly, they lost Lucy Montgomery and Shelby Rambo, who will be missed by a lot. But they still have Abby Imch, who I think is one of the best middle blockers in the area, period. They were so close to beating Independence last year in the regional semis. And like we said, you knock that boulder over, all of a sudden, the doors open a little bit. There's still boulders in your path, but if you get past that, then there are things out of your way.
Hashtag Coach Armini is still your daddy, Western Reserve. I love it. I love it. We get to that's going to be exciting too, talking with Coach Armini too. A coach that is well known throughout the area too, but just wearing a little bit of a different set of colors. And now we get to exciting to see him lead these Blue Devils now. Then it's a Western Reserve team that competes in a very tough conference on that side that always has some solid teams coming out of that MVAC Scarlet.
Tyler, if we're sticking with the fall scene, I gotta think it's a soccer team, because you look at how many state qualifiers we've had in the area just in the last decade alone. Like we continuously get teams either to win a state championship like Howland did, or we get them to that final, or even get them in the tournament. I mean, you gotta think that that's the best chance we got is our soccer scene.
Crestview as well last year. I mean, like I said, it's very intriguing to root for the Rebels this year, just in what they have talent-wise on the volleyball court, on the soccer field as well. Heck, even in the football field. I know Kirtland is in Division 6 now, but Crestview is always going to be a solid threat in the football scene as well. Coach Cusick does a phenomenal job down there. But no doubt, soccer teams have been the name of the game.
Also, I want to give a shout-out to McDonald's cross-country team, who is always in the mix, and they'll be probably well represented in that state meet come the end of this cross country season. They have a great running program.
They absolutely do. I mean, you had that interview with the McDonald running coach, right?
Yeah, long distance. Yep.
And he was that was a phenomenal interview as well. And I mean, that's success that's been sustained for years.
This year was their 71st state champion in track and field. So you got to know that carries over to cross country.
A lot of success in Blue Devil territory for sure.
Gary Leininger gave a shout out to Salem's cross country team. He thinks they have a chance to send someone to state and win. So that's a team they'll keep an eye on as well. Golfers could go and win a state. I don't know if we'll have any teams that will go all the way and qualify for the team tournament, but you never know. I think there are definitely some golfers in the area, though, that could definitely go to Columbus and win the Gulf State
I'm
tournament.
sure Brian Tolner has a couple that he can rattle off right offhand.
Oh yeah, someone that is hoping to be in that conversation at the end of the year, and someone that we have become big fans of. We're happy to have him back on the show. Is Coach Justin Kosick of the Springfield Tigers girls soccer team. Coach, thank you once again for coming on, and welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I always appreciate any support you can show us.
Coach, I mean, let's first and foremost just start off with, I guess, a season outlook coming up this season. You guys obviously a successful 21 campaign. How do you sustain and maintain that success going into this season, and what are we looking at on the field?
I think over the last 2 years, our league has grown exponentially, and it's gotten much tougher. Waterloo really made a huge jump last year. Champion is always a really good team. Barry does a great job at Crestview building them up. Brookfield's getting better. Newton Falls is getting better. Liberty comes into the league this year, and hopefully they can maintain the full schedule. And we've never played them, so just a different group of athletes that we'll have that we've never seen before. So it's going to be different. We've lost a lot in the last 2 years as far as graduating seniors and skill that we had to replace. And I feel pretty strong about this group that we have. I wouldn't sleep on us. I wouldn't think that we've lost too much just because, I mean, we only have one freshman coming in, but she's a good one. She's going to help us a lot. The sophomores, juniors, and seniors have stepped up big time. And I think we have some big plans this year. Obviously, number one is setting the goal of winning the league. So we got to start off strong with that.
You are returning a lot of Leonard winners from last year as well, but I think the big name that probably goes under the radar because most goalies do, but you're returning Caitlin Capelli, who had 135 saves last year, was a lockdown defensively, kept balls out of the net. I mean, to return someone like her, what's that mean to this team to have an experience like that come back?
She's a 3-year starter now, and she has fully 100% bought in this year. And she's been a big part of the team over the last few years, but to see her fully buy in all summer long this year, and just be a true full member of the team from day one this year, I think the sky's the limit for her this year. I don't know how tall Caitlin is. She's 6'6'1", extremely athletic, a smart girl, learning how to talk to her defense. She should just age and years of experience. She should anchor our defense back there. Hopefully she doesn't have 130 plus saves this year, but if she's forced to, I have faith that she'll do it. We really trust her back there a lot.
Who are developing as some really key vocal leaders in your new upper class?
We have sophomore Hannah Stouffer is going to be one of our inside defenders, and junior Emma Sanders is going to be the other one starting wise. And they've both worked really hard this year, at least this summer, as far as understanding what to say, how to say it, how to not be perceived as just screaming and hollering at your teammates, but instructing. Kendall Mon's another one. She's a sophomore. She'll be another inside defender. And the big thing we've tried to teach them this summer is not to be reactive, but to be proactive. We don't need them yelling at somebody on the field because of what just happened and telling them what they know what just happened. If they got beat, they got beat. We need to tell them what to do next to get in position so we don't have compounded issues. And I think that's what the three of them have really done a really nice job of this year, learning and accepting and just embracing that that's what we need them to do.
This team has a tradition of success. You're back-to-back MVAC champions. You've had a lot of success, especially in those last 3 years. How have you been able to get the girls to respect that tradition, but also realize that they're not defined by those teams and they are a new team themselves and they come in with their own identity?
Yeah, we do a lot of that in the summer. We go to showcases, which seems like you're just going to play soccer, but we do tell the girls it's soccer first, it's fun second, but we make sure that we set stuff up for them to get to know each other in different ways, get to know not just the group of 4 or 5 of them that hang out outside of soccer, but get to know everybody that you generally wouldn't hang out with outside of soccer. We don't want them to just be friendly because they're on the same team. We want them to know each other and be friends. So we spend a day in Camp Field, which a lot of the local teams do, and Phil does a really nice job running that out there. But it was nice this year because our games weren't back to back to back to back. It was spread out throughout the course of the day. So we spent 6-7 hours together. We go to Columbus for a weekend. We did that 2 weeks ago, and I forced them 5 or 6 girls into a hotel room, and we split them into ways that they normally wouldn't pick themselves. And we do a night at Dave and Buster's, eating dinner, playing games. We do games and food in the lobby. We do a lot of team challenges during the summer. We try to end practice with something fun every day. We went to lunch. We have our first scrimmage tonight against Beaver Local, so we went to lunch today after practice. As much as we can get them doing together off of the soccer field, I feel like that is where our success comes from.
Is there a different approach from you as a coach, or that you tell the girls as players when you're defending a league championship as opposed to chasing one?
Honestly, not at all, because we talk about every year. Like this year, I said we have 1 freshman coming in. I think we lost 6 seniors, maybe 7 seniors. But if you lose 1 player and bring 1 player in, it's a completely different team from year to year. And we stress that to them. We stress that I don't care who started last year. I don't care what positions you played last year. It's wide open. It's a different team. It's a different year. People get better. People don't work as hard in the off season. Understanding increases, and it's just truly one game at a time. We don't really talk about winning. I said this to you guys last year. We don't talk about winning games, what we have to do to win a game. We talk about the small things and taking care of those little things and building them step by step so that you can set that end goal of a league championship, a district championship, and then hopefully beyond. I think you need to get a little lucky to keep going from that point on. But the skill can get you there, and that's how we approach the season every year.
9th season at the helm. What makes Springfield such a special place to coach, and what makes you keep coming back to it?
Listen, I grew up out here. I graduated from here. I played football, basketball, ran track. I had some phenomenal coaches out here. I still talk to a lot of the coaches that I had. We live out here. My kids go here. They both played sports. Kylie graduated a couple years ago, is playing in college. Kaysen's playing football, basketball, and track. It is unlike any other community that I've seen. The support you get, the contact you get just from stopping in somewhere and running into somebody you haven't seen in 10 years. And it's a 15, 20-minute conversation. Like you've been friends the entire time and you've never grown apart. It just means something when you're from here. So to be able to come back and get the opportunities to coach here that I've had, I truly cherish them. I always said from day one, I set one of my goals as 100 wins. And I always said, I want to get all of them at Springfield. I didn't even want to entertain the thought of going somewhere else to continue doing it. I wanted to do it here. And I've been lucky enough to have an administration that backed me and kept at least asking me to come back so far. We'll see if it continues.
What, in saying that, and you mentioned the coaches that really had an impact on you, what's some of the best advice you've received from a coach in your career that you've really held on to going into being a coach yourself?
Don Evans was the assistant track coach when I came through here. Reno Free was the head track coach. Don's son is actually my nephew-in-law now. And I talk to Don regularly. And the best thing he ever told me coming through here, especially when Kylie was coming through the programs and I was going to have her on the basketball team and the soccer team, he just said, make sure you take steps back and you are always a parent first. And you see those moments as a parent, not just as a coach. And he told me that my wife was always really, especially Kylie's senior year, she was really good at just making sure that I was able to stay in the moment and embrace them as a parent and not just as a coach. And like I said, I got that from Don Evans, and that's probably the best piece of advice I've ever had as a coach.
I know you've played plenty of sports. You've coached a couple. You're coaching soccer for the 9th season. What is one sport that you haven't coached yet that you think you would make a pretty good coach on that field if you had to pick another sport?
I would love to coach golf. I would absolutely love to coach golf. I mean, if we had golf when I was in high school, I probably would not have played football. Practices would have been a lot more fun. Hopefully my game would be a lot better right now than it is. I look at Dom Del Torio, who was our basketball coach when I was going through. He's now our golf coach. And I think to myself, man, that guy gets to go out and play golf every day with those kids. That sounds like a blast.
You know, you told me before the show that we almost had you on the golf course today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was going to play with Don Evans' son. That's what I was playing with, my nephew.
That question would have been right in pocket for that
Yep,
for that spot.
we weren't sure the weather was going to allow us to get off.
Coach, I mean, no doubt looks to be a fun season. I guess if you could put into just a few words what we can expect from this 2022 campaign, from this edition of the Springfield Tigers, what can we expect, whether that's attitude-wise, personality-wise? What do you think this team's identity is looking like early on?
They're going to be, it's a hard-working group. It's probably one of the hardest working overall groups I've ever had. They're going to come to play every day, and they're not, I can promise one thing: we will not lose a game because the other team is outworking us or because the other team's in better conditioning shape than we are. We will outdo teams at both of those things in all 17 regular season games and into the playoffs, I believe.
Coach, last year your players came on the show. They gave a call out to the students. They made sure that the student section was good at your games, and they definitely answered the call, the Springfield students. You're going to have to keep us updated on how the Springfield students do this year, and we'll bring some of your players on to give them another shout out. But before we let you go, and I know we're going to have you on again, and we do want to give you the chance to shout out your staff, the coaching assistants, and some of the people that have helped you build this Springfield soccer program to what it is.
I actually have a new assistant this year. It's Gina Vecchione, which is one of my juniors' moms. She wasn't real sure about taking it, but she's bought in. And I think that seeing it from this side of it, she's really loving what she's doing. One of my former players, Megan Mills, is going to volunteer for us this year. She played at Westminster for 4 years and is just a very knowledgeable player. So I'm excited to have her. We have just started. We played a session in the spring, and they're getting ready to play their second session now. We started a middle school program out here, playing Niles and Boardman and Campfield and Poland and everybody else that is lucky enough to have a middle school program. And Spencer Gavalier is not even a Springfield kid. He's from Hubbard, I believe. And he has volunteered his time he's coaching them 3 or 4 times a week. He's coaching all the games. He put in all the paperwork to get approved for it. It's kind of been the piece that we've been missing, and we've been fairly successful without that piece, but we don't really have a strong travel program out here, and the rec league only goes for 4 weeks in the summer. So that's kind of been my feeder system. But to have Spencer do what he's done with this middle school group of a few 5th graders, but mostly 6th, 7th, and 8th, and getting them ready to play with us next year, we are very excited for that. And then obviously, I mean, Mark Carden in the past and Bob Beam coming in this year as our new AD. We just have a lot of support. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of parental support. There's a lot of backing. Anything I need, I get like crazy from the first person I ask for it from. So again, community is awesome. I wouldn't trade this place for the world.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and being on this show. You're one of the big friends of Running Point. We hope to have you on as the season goes on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Coach Justin Kosek, the head coach of the very successful Springfield girls soccer team, joining us live on Running Point today. And we go from one very successful coach to another pretty successful coach and another pretty successful program. We have our first volleyball coaches corner of the season, and it is Sarah Lowe of the Beaver Local Volleyball Program. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Coach, I mean, let's first and foremost, I guess, start off with a meet the team segment, because we know there was a decent amount of seniors that were lost from last year. From you as a coaching standpoint, what do you have to do when you have to kind of press that reset button and kind of find a lot of new pieces to fill some holes?
Well, luckily, my job in that aspect is pretty easy, because my underclassmen and those who move up, they understand the expectation and they work extremely hard. And even though we've lost a lot of our starters as we're filling in positions to start this season, those kids are working extremely hard. And I think last year's group of seniors has set a great example for these upcoming athletes. And I think they plan to follow in their footsteps.
I mean, it's definitely hard to lose a senior class like that. But like you said, they leave a legacy. So how much have you seen the footprints of last year's seniors already in this group of being with them in the summer and knowing that they saw their work ethic and then they're carrying the examples that those seniors left on this team? How much are you seeing the footprints of last year's seniors on this group already?
This year's incoming seniors have stepped up exactly where last year's left off. The leadership, has been exceptional. Just the positivity, the energy, the knowing that it's now their turn to step up in that role and to create some of the accomplishments and just follow along in that same path that we've had over the last several years of tradition. And our defenders are pushing each other nonstop, and our hitters are working extremely hard. And like I said, I think this year's senior class is going to really do some good leadership type roles.
Who are some big names that we should be looking out for that are going to be taking the world by storm in your opinion coming up in this season?
Well, the good and the bad of it is since we're replacing basically our whole lineup, losing 6 starters and having only 3 that had a key role last year coming back onto the court, we're going to have a lot of room for movement this year. We're going to be led by 5 key seniors, a couple of which are hitters, some strong defenders. We have a really good serving specialist coming in. We have 8 juniors, most of which are going to see some varsity time at one point or another. And I'm also excited that I think we're going to have some sophomores really impact our starting lineup this year. So we're going to have some youth to us, but it's going to help us to build over the next couple of years. And it's kind of going to be, I don't know when I want to say a revolving door, but we're going to have a lot of athletes playing in for positions. And I think that's a good problem to have, knowing that all our kids are working that hard, that they're all in perspective to play.
And you know that you're going to put these new kids in tough situations on the jump. Your schedule, like always, is a tough one. You really schedule up and to prepare them for the postseason. What are some big names that pop up on your schedule, teams you're excited to play? And then also, what's the conference look like this year? And who do you think are going to be some of the big obstacles to keep Beaver Local from winning the conference?
Okay. Well, I'd say let's start with our local hometown teams. I would say one of our biggest competitions this year is going to be both East Liverpool and Oak Glen. Both are coming back with kind of a developed starting lineup. They were both a little bit younger last year, and so they have a little bit more under their belt than we do coming into the season. East Liverpool's got strong hitter Kaya White. Oak Glen's got Ashlyn Six. And just because they're local rivalries, I think those will be great matchups for us throughout the season. In terms of other tough defenders that we've got, we'll be facing Claymont again this year, who last year we took them 4 matches, both times that we saw them, once in the season and once in the postseason. And we were unable to capture that win, but we've got them back on our schedule this year. So we're hopeful that we can come out and give them a run for their money and end up on top. And then we've added Dover to our schedule this year. With some of those changes, we were hoping that would help us come postseason this year. But there's also been a lot of divisional changes where we've seen a lot of teams move up and down. So when we look to our postseason, we're still in that super sectional, but some of our tougher teams such as Claymont and Meadowbrook, they have now changed divisions. So I would say John Glenn is probably somebody who we want to look out for down the road here, and probably Riverview. And lucky for us, we'll get to see John Glenn here in a scrimmage in just a week or two.
And you talk about so many players that need to get experience too, but you said it opens a door wide open. Do you think these kind of scheduling games, and do you see the schedule to be beneficial for these younger players before a tournament time? And what are some key points you really want some of these players that are stepping into a starting role the first time? What are some key points you want them to really learn on this regular season into the tournament?
I would say a big thing is we talked about, we're going to be in some long rallies this year, and we're going to play against some tough teams. And our thing is going to be making sure that we're reducing our unforced errors to be successful. And, if we can keep a positive mindset, people coming into the season, including some athletes, they're like, Coach, do you think we're going to win games this year? There's never a game that I would step onto the court with my team and not think I can win. Right. Our strategies might have to be a little bit different, as we're going to be defensive heavy compared to offensive heavy. But I can tell you our hitters are going to make an impact, and our defense is going to win games. And with that, we know we're going to be playing in, potentially some 4 to 5 set matches this year. And we're going to condition and we're going to prepare for that accordingly. We've set up some really tough scrimmages coming out. Like I mentioned, John Glenn, we're going to see Tusky Valley, some of the top teams in the state to help us prepare. And we know that we're going to take each one of those as a learning opportunity. Throughout the summer, we work with Crestview, who had a solid team, made a great run last year. They're returning 2 great players in Auer and Emch, and we've had an opportunity to kind of train with them throughout the summer. So I think we understand that we've got some growing pains to kind of go through, but it's not a challenge that these girls won't accept.
I mean, when you look at the scrimmage schedule that you've put together in these next couple weeks, gotta imagine for a sport like volleyball where you don't get a lot of practice time in the week because you're playing games at such a rapid pace, these next couple weeks are really important for you as a coach and a coaching staff to see the development. What do you want to see out of this next couple weeks for your scrimmage season, and what are some outlying goals that you have as a team to complete before the season starts in your scrimmage schedule?
I would say each time that we step up, just to be better than we were the game before. These are meant as stepping stones as we head into the season to begin that climb uphill. If we can show improvement, like I said, one big thing is we're going to be keeping track of not the score on the scoreboard, but you'll see us on the sidelines tracking earned points versus unearned points. If we can reduce our mistakes every time we step out to play, we'll be successful. We're also going to be putting a key focus on our serve receive percentage. You know, how many times are we executing that first ball that comes over the net? You know, focusing back on some of those little things, not just the big outcome of the final hit during a play, is going to be an important role for us this year. And I think as we see each of the competitions over the next couple weeks, our goal would be to keep bettering those percentages and those numbers building up to our first game of the season.
I asked previous coach Kosick, this question. I want to extend the same thing to you because in your life, sports has obviously helped shape you in several ways too. So, what's some advice that you've received prior to your coaching career that really stuck with you as a coach going into this into coaching, I guess, at Beaver Local?
You know, I'd say probably every coach that I had coming up through was impactful in one way or another, whether it was through their knowledge, their love of the game, even some key moments where maybe I would have messed up and I've got a lecture or two and some lessons, some tough lessons I learned that way. But I would say probably one of the number one things that stood out to me was actually one of my freshman coaches. It was Robin Thies. Her just passion for what she did, and most importantly, her caring and understanding for each one of her athletes and being there for them and helping to build that character piece is something I will never forget. And that's something that I hope to mimic each year as I get a new group of athletes, is making sure that, number one, they don't know how much I know, but how much I care.
We know that every team is different than the year before, especially this year with so many new faces. You've had a chance to hang out with them and spend time with them over the summer. Define this team's identity and what makes them unique from other teams that you've coached.
Oh, that's tough because I value every team that I've had an opportunity to coach, and they do definitely all stand out. I would say this group is unique, fun, a lot of energy, quirky. You know, we spent our season, and you know, you watch them on the sidelines, and they're over there dancing, or they're we were up at a Cedar Point tournament, and I look over on the side, and when we killed off a ball or we got an ace, the kids are over there pretending like they're bowling or hitting balls out of the park. I think just the energy and the fun and the positivity that they're bringing with one another, it's going to stand out. And we got to spend a day in Cedar Point Park afterwards, and just watching them laugh and giggle and get on each other. I feel like, you know, every year I don't think our bond can get any stronger. And yet these guys continue to surpass expectations. I mean, they're just such a tight-knit group, and they truly care about one another. We have a player who shows up, you know, she's not there 15 minutes before practice. They're all calling her. Like, I don't even have to do that. I mean, they truly watch out for one another.
I mean, it must be such a proud moment for you to see so many girls of different personalities still come together for that common goal of tradition. What's your advice as a coach for maybe some coaches just getting into coaching a sport, of kind of building that tradition and getting kids to buy in from all sorts of different personalities to fight for that one common goal?
I would say what you do mimics how they're going to react. You have to show them and model for them as a coach. Even though some days you may not feel like it, there's days that the players don't feel like it. You got to show them how much you care. You got to show them how involved you are, how hard you're willing to work, what you're willing to devote to them. And in turn, you know, if you're willing to run through the brick wall for them, I feel like they'll do the same in return. You know, as an educator, I kind of have that same philosophy in my classroom. If I care, if I set expectations high, I think that my students will react, and I think my athletes are the same way. I think when they see what I put into things and how much I care about each one of them, I think they respond accordingly.
One of the things that we've learned very quickly, but covering Beaver Local as long as we have, is this administration supports their athletics, no matter what it is. And definitely with your volleyball program, as successful as it been, that you get a lot of support from the administration. I want to give you the chance to kind of shout out the Beaver Local school system and how much they've supported this program and how big of an asset they've been in building it to what it is now.
Tell you what, our school administration team has been great. Anything we need, if we go to them, they're always willing to listen, help us come up with a solution. From our principals and Mike McKenzie and Jim Ricardo at the high school level, even our middle school principals, and the positivity that they provide to our middle school athletes, which is our building program, and Jake Walgate and Mason Sechrist, they couldn't be more supportive. They're at games the nights they're covering, and then they're at games otherwise just cheering on the girls, and that goes without being said how important that is. In terms of our athletic director, I heard your previous coach. Yes, our athletic director last year, Bob Beam, has gone back to Springfield. He was a huge supporter, did everything. And this year I'm excited to bring in Josh Sigler as our new athletic director. He is a lifer for Beaver Local. He has done great things already in his past success as an educator and as a previous coach. And I know he'll do great things for all of our athletics as leading that role. And I'd have to probably give a shout out to our superintendent, Eric Lowe. He's definitely very supportive of all of our programs, not just volleyball, but you can find him at any sport, whether it's a home event or a 2-hour away adventure. And I think just to have that for all athletes coming from the head down is extremely important.
To kind of continue that question, we'll go right into the 2022 edition of the Beaver Local volleyball staff to shout out the assistants and some other big names that are going to be in that volleyball program.
Well, I guess let me start with my feeder program, probably the most important part, and that's my middle school program. We've had some coaches kind of bounce in and out in that program over the last couple of years, but this year we lost one of our key assets. She's still going to volunteer and be part of the program, and that's Amanda Wyan. But we are also going to be led with our two new coaches, which are Kelly Jones, who's also an educator at the school, and Sierra Thurick, who was one of my players just a few years back. And she's also coached some club ball with me. And I'm really excited to see what those two will bring, as I know they're full support of the Heart and Desire motto. And I've already seen them in the gym all summer long, and they're really doing great things to build up our program. In terms of the high school, I'm very fortunate to have my entire coaching staff back. We've changed some roles and positions as to who is where based on some life changes and some new babies coming into the volleyball family. But I have Carmen Puliano as my freshman coach, and she'll be my defensive specialist. I'll have Erin Williams as my JV coach, and she is one of our hitting and offensive specialists. I have Andrew Guerin, who will be my varsity assistant, and he specializes in setting and our defensive aspect. And then I'm very fortunate to have Sierra McComas, who is coming back as a volunteer on our staff this year, with having a new little one at home, and she's our setting specialist. One thing that is different in our program than I would say probably most other programs, even though our coaches have a freshman, a JV, an assistant type title, we're all equals, including myself. I see all of them in the same exact role as myself. So instead of necessarily, considering ourselves head coaches on a specific team, we work together and we all take a different aspect of the game, and that's where we coach our athletes.
I know the coaching community as a whole is so tight-knit, and I ask players this, who their best friend is that doesn't wear their uniform. So I'm kind of interested, who's your best coaching friend that doesn't coach for Beaver Local, that you've either had the chance to coach against or you would like to coach against?
Wow. There's a lot of great coaches out there, and I have been very fortunate to, through District 1 volleyball and through the OHSVCA, make a lot of really great connections over the years. But I would say if I have to pick out one coach to pinpoint, it would probably be Morgan Poling, who is the head coach at Oak Glen. I had an opportunity to watch her as a young volleyball athlete and see the growth for her love of the game since time she was little until she played at college at Fairmont University, and now she's impacting that high school program. Her and I, along with Jen Martin at Columbiana, have worked to kind of build up our aspect of an off-season volleyball club, and working with both of them has been a great experience of learning for them, for myself. But I would say I'd have to give a shout out to, first of all, probably Morgan Poling at Oak Glen, and then secondly would be Jen Martin at Columbiana.
Coach, we want to thank you so much for your time in previewing this Beaver Local Volleyball squad for the 2022 campaign. We wish you the best of luck this upcoming season, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Thanks. Absolutely. Thanks for having me today, guys.
Sarah Lowe, the head coach of the very talented, very strong, and very traditional Beaver Local Volleyball team, joining us on Running Point Live on the show. We're so happy that she was able to kind of kickstart our volleyball previews.
How about this, too? A special thank you to Coach Lowe, who will be serving as one of our coaches in the first ever YSN Volleyball All-Star game this fall.
Wow. We've already got our coaches set up.
We should have asked her about that in the thing too. We should have. Well, actually, you know what? Why don't we just here we go. We'll just pop her back in.
Pop
Coach,
right back. Go ahead, real quick.
What do we think about this thing, Coach? I mean, what does that mean to you to be able to serve as a coach for so many great athletes and be able to serve as the head of one of those teams?
Well, this is great news to me. Obviously, anything I can do to help our community and help all of our athletes, I'd be excited to. I've had the opportunity to coach all-star games in the past, and I will say that's always a great experience to see some of those athletes from different schools come together, and it's just a fun day. So if there is an all-star game, you guys can count me in.
Awesome.
Coach, we want to thank you again so much too, and hopefully, like we said, we'll be talking to you again real soon, and I guess we'll be seeing you at the All-Star game now.
All right.
Thank you, Coach. As Coach Sarah Lowe, like you said, and I mean, what a great coach. And like you said, I mean, if there's one of those coaches that just has built such a strong tradition for a school, it's blame Stigler. Stigler signed her up for it already. That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh man. So Siggy, one of the Siggies, not Chris Sigler, Josh Sigler. One of the it's one of the
I'm assuming
Siglers.
it's Josh.
Yeah.
You've been voluntold.
Yeah, voluntold. Oh man. But nonetheless, it's great coach over there at Beaver Local too, and serves such a great role for so many young athletes too. And they, like she said too, they step up, and it's so many different personalities, so many different girls that come together for that common goal of just serving Beaver Local's tradition of success. And the way you get to success, or the path to success, is through hard work. You work hard, you have that focus throughout the off season, and it's usually so impressive because it's girls that haven't started before that we've seen that come on the next year, and it's like, whoa, they just come out on the spot, 200 plus kills, and it's like, where did you come from? And it's the hard work that they put in to step into those roles. It's like she talked about that circulating door. Well, it's been like that for a few years now at Beaver Local, of just talent that just steps in and fills those roles because they know what the tradition means to them.
You know, we have so many good volleyball coaches in the area. So when I say this, I want it to mean something, because there are really, really good volleyball coaches from D1 down to D4. You know, Coach Bartlett at Fitch in D1, Coach Birch. And then you go down to the smaller schools, Coach Martin at Columbiana, you know, Coach Klockner at McDonald, Coach Lesko from Mineral Ridge. Really good volleyball coaches that have established success in their programs. I think there aren't too many coaches that I would want in a first ever All-Star game more than Sarah Lowe, because she is such a good ambassador of the sport. She grows the sport immensely just by her presence. And like, if I was gonna have someone kind of, you know, flagship an All-Star game and get all that talent and have the opportunity just for 2 hours to maybe impact or teach or give one piece of advice to that athlete, Sarah Lowe's near the top of the list.
I mean, I'd have to agree. And I mean, the resume speaks for itself, not just the success you've seen so many Sarah Lowe coached teams have, but just as a whole, how many of the girls talk about how much of an impact she has had on them as a whole too. This is a Beaver Local team, and what I believe the last 3 seasons has 56 wins in the last 3 seasons. I believe they're 56 and like 14 in the last 3 seasons. It's a team that's gonna be fine. It's circulated success before. They're gonna have success, but that's because they buy into what she's teaching too. And Coach Lowe, like she said herself too, she's gonna run through a brick wall for any of those kids too. And I think that means something a lot more to the kids than some coaches may realize.
And bravo to how cool is that? Like the first coach that comes on the show for the season is also going to be the first coach announced for our YSN All-Star game, volleyball All-Star game, which is coming at the end of the year, into the volleyball season, not into the end of the year. That'd be kind of silly to have in December. End of the season.
Big things happening though, and that's really cool too. I know DJ announced it earlier this last month, I should say.
Yeah.
These months smashing together now, but earlier last month, I believe, and it's been exciting to talk about. And as it looms closer, we start knocking down some more of the branches as well too. So we know some high quality coaches going to be featured in that All-Star game.
We're not done with high quality volleyball coaches. We have Heather Guthrie of Lakeview coming on at 1:00, and man, that volleyball program has been super successful over the last 4 years. For the first season since the conception of the NE8, though, they're going to be playing the Chasers. They are not the reigning champions. Girard knocked them off last season of that mantle, but it was the only 2 NE8 games Lakeview lost, right? It was Girard and Girard. They both went more than 3 sets. So very tight competition in that NE8, but Lakeview has been a very successful program over the years, and Heather Guthrie returns to the helm, and she will be on the show at 1:00. We'll also talk to Waterloo boys soccer coach as well later on the show at 1:30. Don't miss that and more coming up next on Running Point after this break on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships.
We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team.
Your goals, our game plan.
Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Jimmy Sutton here, director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
How lucky are we to have not one, but 2 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring PGA professionals, golf instruction, a players rewards club, kids programs, and a pro shop and grill room for a memorable golf experience. Call or click to schedule your tee time at Mill Creek Golf Course.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers.
From sales to financing and even service,
we'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries. We guarantee financing.
regardless of your situation or credit history.
No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Now is the time to think about your future, where you want to go, what you want to be. Your future can start now at Kent State Salem or Kent State East Liverpool. We have programs that will open doors and provide opportunities for you to pursue your passion. We are affordable, we are close. You call it hometown, we call it Kent State University. Learn more at www.kent.edu/Columbiana. You belong here.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And we return to Running Point, and actually right off the commercial break, perfect timing, we're going to be joined by Heather Guthrie, the head coach of the Lakeview volleyball team. Coach, welcome back.
Hey, thanks. How are you?
Welcome back to volleyball. Here we go. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us again this year.
Oh, well, thanks for having me again. I really appreciate it.
Coach, when both Anthony and I were talking on yesterday's show, we were mentioning how looking at this Lakeview team, it doesn't look like you guys are losing a whole lot of talent. Obviously, Carly Hahn is going to be felt a little bit in that senior leadership, but there's a lot of girls that are looking like they could step into that spot. Shout out some of the leaders and what this Lakeview team's going to look like in this 2022 campaign.
Well, you're right. We definitely are going to miss Carly Hahn. She's a great leader. She was so positive. We definitely are going to miss her. But, I have my entire roster coming back. Maggie Pavlansky, my setter, the last 4 years is coming back. So I'm really excited for that. Tara Lytle's coming back. Reagan Price, Mallory Mylock, Brooke Schneider, Maddie Bayes, Emma Schmader. And I have a huge bench again this year. So a lot of the girls that saw some playing time last year are going to be coming back to get some playing time as well. So let's see, who else do I have? Oh my gosh, I have Molly Stewart. I have Addison Allen, Haley Capian, Candy Bartlett, Mara Schmader. So all those girls are coming back. So I'm getting very excited for season to start here.
All right, with all those familiar faces for Lakeview fans last year, are there any names that are kind of sneaking into the fold that Lakeview fans should kind of keep an eye out for this season?
Oh, that's tough. I think all my girls are performing so well right now. I don't know if there's just one I can honestly pick. They all play so well together. I'm very lucky that team camaraderie and team chemistry is so high right now. And all of our girls know their role. They're stepping into their role. So I don't know if I can really pick just one, to be honest.
Can we expect different starting looks from this Lakeview team depending on what the opponent they're facing is this year?
Yes and no. I'm not going to give away all my secrets.
Right.
But yes, I'm very fortunate that I can have 3 or 4 different lineups on any given night. This year we're looking at running a 3-person middle. So we're going to be throwing some people in different positions. Again, my bench is so full of talent that I can put any of those girls in any position I know will be okay.
This is a team that for the first year gets to play a little bit of the chaser role in the NE8. They're not coming back as champions this year.
Yeah.
How have they kind of handled that this summer? How have they kind of gotten even more hungry to come back? Everyone in the volleyball community is talking about Lakeview versus Girard and what that matchup's going to be. How have you seen them kind of handle the mentality of not being the top dog coming into this season?
Honestly, I think they were just disappointed. I mean, I was disappointed that we didn't come out on top this year, but Girard's a great program. They're full of talent. All the girls play together in club season. So it's like they're playing against not only, their opponent, but their friends, girls they've played club with since they were in 7th grade. So it's always a battle with them. I think this year we definitely are a lot hungrier than what I think maybe we were last year. I think last year we kind of just thought, we only lost 2 people. We'll be good. We'll be fine. So this year we definitely buckled down in the off season, really focus on our strength training, our jump training. That way we're setting up big blocks against the big arms that are at Girard. We're definitely looking forward to playing Girard, but again, Phil runs a great program. So we're excited. It's going to be competitive. It's healthy competition, and we're really excited for it.
We took a look at your schedule too. Obviously, there's some fun non-conference games. I'll let you shout out the ones you're particularly excited for. But looking at the league too, it looks like the league as a whole is improving all the way around. How excited are you for the competitiveness of the NE8 this season?
We're very excited. The last couple of years, like I said last year too, our conference is getting more competitive, and that's great. And that goes to like all these girls playing in club and playing all year round, which brings a lot more competition to our area, which is great. My out of conference games, we're really excited to play all of them, to be honest. I talked to my AD and I told Rhonda Julio, I said, I want a tough out of conference season. I want really tough competitors. I want to travel outside the area. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to playing all of them this year. So
he answered the call because you kick off the season with Canfield on the road on August 20th at Canfield. I mean, that's a great way to kick off the season. And then, you got Fitch, you got Canfield again. And did that game get moved? Is that why it's on there twice?
No, we're playing Cardinal Mooney on the 20th.
Okay. See, I got the logos got me.
Yeah.
Cardinal Mooney, but you still got Canfield on the schedule, I see, and you still got Berkshire, a 4-team match in Berkshire.
Yes.
And then you got Kirtland on this schedule as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kicking up the schedule a little bit to make you more prepared for this Division II tournament that I know you guys want to be so successful in going forward.
Yes. Well, actually, we got bumped down to Division III this year, so we're excited that we're going to be out of that. But Mentor Lake Catholic came down with us, so
and look at Division III though, in the tournament that you guys are going to have to face.
Mm-hmm.
The schedule you guys have, it's gonna be tough. But these are girls, like you said, that have been there, done that. So, what are some things that you want the girls to kind of learn, and what are some things you're going to be working on in the regular season in preparation for a newly looking Division III tournament now?
Well, we know in our Division III playoffs that we're going into, there are some tough teams. Crestview's in there. It's like it's still just as tough as our D2 one. But my girls know that every game and every practice we're going to improve. And when we watch film to see what we're not necessarily doing wrong, but what we can improve on. Every team's going to make a mistake no matter what. That's how the other team scores points. So we just really look on like what we can control. So going into our playoffs, we really start to fine tune first ball contact. We start to fine tune our sets, our free ball plays. So those are the kind of things that we look forward to. And, we use a lot of the the second half of our season to prep for tournaments. My girls know that winning a game isn't just winning a game. It's also setting us up to have a good placement, a tournament draw. It's setting us up to be ranked in the state, to give us that great tournament placement and give us an opportunity where we can have home court advantage and we can be in the driver's seat instead of being the passenger seat and waiting to see what's going to happen.
Every year we have to talk about the summers in that gym and what it's like and how much it prepares you condition wise, because that gym gets really hot really fast. And I'm sure summer conditioning and summer practices in that gym, not exactly the most fun thing in the world.
No, it's definitely not. But I definitely think that it gives my girls grit. These girls know that if they can perform in our gym, we can perform in any gym because our gym is the probably hottest ever. So yeah, but I mean, I think it just gives them strong work ethic and it makes them realize like they have to be mentally tough and they just have to outwork the physical aspect and then dig into their mental aspect.
How excited are you just to have that Lakeview community get back into a gym? Because I know they can get excited and they can get loud. How excited are you to get them back in and just shout out that community as a whole and the support they've given you?
Oh my gosh, our community is wonderful. I am so excited to be able to have people back in the gym again. I'm really hoping that our student section ramps up this year. We have a great team and, we get a lot of community support. And I just hope that we can fill the stands a little more than what we have been the last couple of years, but I know protocol, whatever, but still, yeah, I'm really hoping that we get it. So when we played in our district semis, we had people come up from the school, community members, students, teachers. So that was really great. And the girls really loved that. And that shows like strong community equals strong sports programs equals strong academics. So
you guys are also strong on the social media side of things with your TikTok and your Instagram, always coming up with new stuff. Do you have any Ysn exclusives of new things we can see on the TikTok this year that you're thinking of?
I don't know. That's Maddie Baez's job this year. She had it last year as well. So she knows that she has to be creative and come up with some new things. But I mean, that's just our world today. Like that's what they love to do. So instead of using it or looking at it as a negative, let's look at it as a positive and make it fun for the girls.
It's been a running theme asking this on Running Point today, so I wanna continue this question to you as well. In before your coaching career, what was some of the best advice that you've received either from a past coach, parent, player, whatever have you, that really influenced and impacted you that you carry with you as a coach today?
Ooh, that's tough. I've had so many coaches. Oh man. See, Anthony, this is why I asked you for the questions first, because I had to think about this. I guess like the best advice I ever received was perform at how you would want a teammate to perform for you. So how you look at your teammate and you want them to perform, you should perform like that as well. Because if you're performing to your best ability, your teammate's going to follow you. So that's probably, I got that from my college coach. So I think that's probably the best advice that I've received so far.
You have a great staff as well. I want to give you the chance to shout out the staff that's behind you. We know the head coach gets all the interviews, all the limelight, but you definitely have great people behind you making this program what it is.
Yes, absolutely. So this year, Nate Mylock is coming back. Lainey Lytle, who's now Lainey Ducey, she just got married. She is just going to come back when she can. She started her full-time career as a surgical nurse, so she works 312. So she'll be here in there sometimes. She knows she's always welcome. And then actually my 7th and 8th grade coaches have changed. I have Maggie Shackelford, which was Maggie Case. She played at Austintown Fitch, and then she actually went to Penn State on a full ride for volleyball and played there. So I'm very excited to have her join our staff this year.
Well, dang.
Yeah.
That's
that secret weapon in there.
that's something to watch out for.
Yeah.
If you could pick one player in the recent past that has graduated or on your roster now that you think has the best chance to be a coach in the future, do you have a name that sticks out? I know that's putting you on the spot a little bit, but it just popped into my head.
Oh goodness. Okay. Actually, I can't just give one. Like I have to
give a couple. I don't care.
A couple. Okay. So definitely I think Annie Pavlansky will be a great coach someday. I know she plays basketball, but I think she has the ability to be a great coach for volleyball and basketball. Right now on my team, definitely Maggie Pavlansky. I definitely could see her being a coach in the future. And Mallory Mylock and Reagan Price, I think they would both be very good coaches in the future as well.
Coach, we want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on with us today and give us a little bit of a preview of this Lakeview team for the 2022 campaign. We wish you the best of luck this season, and we know we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. And again, thank you for giving a platform for sports in the Valley, especially volleyball. It's amazing that we have this opportunity and that you're giving these girls amazing opportunities to be seen and just bringing positivity back to the sports in our area. So thank you.
Can't wait to see you out there, Coach.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Heather Guthrie, the head coach of the Lakeview volleyball team, joining us live on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, one of the more successful volleyball programs of the area. Ty, you coming back on? There you go.
Yeah, I'm right here.
I was like, wait a minute, where's Ty?
Yeah, no doubt. Another successful volleyball team too, and inside that NE8, it's gonna be a tough conference to try to battle through.
And I mean, everyone's talking about it, right? Girard, Lakeview, everyone comes back from both teams. Basically, both teams losing, I think, maybe one starter, and Girard with a couple of more bench players that came in rotation. But man, like, how many times do we see a rivalry span not just 1 year, but like almost the exact same rosters come right back for a second?
It doesn't happen too often. It's going to be certainly a battle. I can't wait till that first time they lock horns in Girard and Lakeview.
Don't have to wait long. It happens really quick. I think they're one of the first conference matchups for both teams. Girard and Lakeview square off on Tuesday, August 30th at Girard to kick off their season series. 7 o'clock, like most games. Going to be a great atmosphere in Girard. Last time they were in Girard twice last year, once in the playoffs, once obviously in the regular season. Both those games at Girard went crazy nuts good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be an exciting one as well too. Next time they lock horns, but I mean it was only 2 5 set series and a 4 set series, right. So I expect nothing less.
And I believe in that 4-set game, Lakeview won the first set, and then Girard came and won the next 3. So, these games are going to be competitive. These matches are going to be competitive. So, I'm excited. I know everyone in the volleyball fanhood is excited for Lakeview versus Girard, but also the NE8, like you said it, Coach Guthrie said it. I'm sure all the coaches of the NE8, when we get them on, will say it as well. This NE8 is very improved, and it used to be Lakeview's show, and then it was Lakeview and Girard's show, and then last year, Lakeview and Girard still kind of dominated the rest of the league, but you could tell they were starting to get a little bit more fight. It wasn't 25-10, 25-9, 25-10 anymore. They were, teams like South Range, teams like Hubbard, teams like Jefferson were starting to put up a much bigger fight inside the NE8 against those teams. And all those programs are going to take another step, and it's going to be more competitive. I don't expect this to be flat out Girard Lakeview run the world this season.
No, I don't think you should either. I mean, I think it's going to be exciting just to see some of these matchups. Hubbard, Jefferson, they're always going to be they're going to be tough. Poland and South Range can't count them out. Niles and Struthers are on the come up. It's going to be an exciting NE8 this year just to see what some of these teams have done to take the next steps in their improvement. A lot of players playing club and travel volleyball, though.
Yeah, and Sarah Lowe, I think, brought up that point, and so did Coach Guthrie, that more and more players are playing club volleyball in the area, which is raising the level of volleyball. Anytime you have more players buying into the sport and then playing in the off season, you're obviously going to get the talent to come up, and you're also going to get the experience to come up around the area.
Absolutely going to get all that and more too. I mean, it just raises high tides raise all ships, like DJ said, right?
Like
right.
DJ said, and I botch terribly every time I try to remember it.
Yeah. High tides raise all ships, but that's exactly what you're seeing is all these players playing the travel volleyball and playing in that scene. It's just going to improve the whole conference.
Just to make sure we're all on the same page, Lakeview opens the season August 20th against Cardinal Mooney, not Canfield. I just looked at the logo really quick, and the logo was the Cardinal, and I was like, "Oh, Canfield," and that's why that mess up happened. But they do open the season at Cardinal Mooney on August 20th on that Saturday.
Yeah, and it should be a fun matchup too, no doubt. Mooney's always a solid team year in and year out.
And we're gonna have to bring Coach Ferrando on because Mooney is losing one of the better players in the area, in Angelina Rotuno, and we're gonna have to see how they kind of try to plug in a new setter this year because he was one of the best setters in the area.
Yeah, they're gonna need to. There's plenty of teams that need to kind of figure out some holes in their roster, and gonna have to have girls step up and step into those positions. But I have little doubt
is off that team as well. She was a great hitter. Elena Francis is off that team, so Mooney lost a lot of pieces.
They certainly did, and I mean they're going to be looking to replace those pieces, and hopefully some girls step up too for them.
We'll look forward to continuing conversations about that. Ty, on this social media question of the day, we've had some more responses on Facebook and Instagram. We also remember we got the Western Reserve comment, talking about maybe Western Reserve football winning a state championship. But we also got Colin Chadwick, who is a good friend from Lakeview of YSN, helps us out with Lakeview pictures of Lakeview athletics. He threw out Fitch softball as a possibility for this upcoming school season.
Very possible, certainly. Get definitely curious to see. I mean, it's a little bit ways away until next softball season, but you never know.
But that's who he threw out. We have had a couple of love for Warren JFK football as well, and that's going to be a big contender. And I'm like you said in the start of this conversation, JFK versus Springfield now a very real possibility in that playoffs.
Springfield's an intriguing team in Division 7, just because I don't care what they lost. There's still plenty of talent that's been there on the field, experienced that success. With a fair number of Division 6 teams. I'm not saying Division 7 doesn't have those kind of teams because JFK is sitting there waiting in the wings, but there you got to figure too, Division 7 just with computer points too, and how Joe Itel and how those points can kind of really make or break where you are seating wise. I think it's going to be super beneficial for Springfield, and I think especially a Division 7 tournament wise, until you get to like the latter parts of those not I guess tournament, the regional semifinals. Well, before that, we go first round, then regional semis, top 16. I think until you get to about that top 8, top 4 in those districts or regions, it's going to be a little bit of a path for Springfield.
It's actually first round, quarterfinals, then semifinals.
I think you're right. I don't remember the exact way football, because it used to be regionals. It used to be what? Regional semis.
It used to be regional quarterfinals first. Your first round with the quarterfinals, then semis, then championship, then state.
Because it was top 8. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it was top 8 that made it. But now it's
so now it's like you're playing round, your first round, I guess you'd call it. There's no word for past quarterfinal as far as I know. So it says first round, quarterfinal, semifinal, championship, then state semis, state championship.
Yeah, whatever first round means. first round. It's just first round.
But other teams looming in that Division 7, that everyone has to remember about. Lucas is in there. Dalton is in there. There'll be teams in our region outside of our coverage map, but still in our region that Springfield and Warren JFK will have to watch out for sure.
It's going to be interesting. Obviously, the dream for us here is we have a Tigers and Eagles D7 regional final. That would be exactly what we would be looking forward for here on YSN.
That would be phenomenal. And we've had a lot of chances last season in different sports to have all YSN regional finals or all YSN regional semis even to guarantee someone in the next round. That's what we love. We love that we have teams that are good enough to both get far, and we're guaranteed someone in the next level.
We love it. We love it. And we hope everything kind of works out the way of YSN. We need to see some football teams come home with some state title glory.
Yeah, it's so close last year. Ursuline was like, that was a heartbreaker. It really was. It was right there.
It was a heartbreaker the year before, too. I mean,
we're like, come on, give us a break. Football gods.
Yeah, the football gods aren't being too kind to us right now.
Even that was a heartbreaking loss for Springfield in the state semis last year to not make it to the state championship. I mean,
yeah,
just it stinks.
It's like, get me out of here.
Ursuline got put through the ringer last year because they had that state championship game, and then they had the softball regional final that both of them were ones that like 1 in a million shots they lose that game, and then it just falls that way, and that's sports, right? You don't get to write your script, but that I think we're due for some things to bounce our way this year.
Hopefully, right? Let's knock on wood, and then just hopefully things work out. We have plenty of teams that
we've had 3 straight seasons where we've had teams lose deep in the playoffs in a heartbreaking fashion. Because I think Poland had a pretty good lead late in the game 3 years ago in I think it was the state semis. It might have been the regional finals. But they had that game. It felt like they had it locked down, and then things just didn't bounce their way. So I think 3 years in a row, we've had teams just lose in a heartbreaking fashion deep in the playoffs. So one, that sucks. Yeah, it does. It sucks. But it also tells you, like, we have multiple programs that are just right there on the cusp, on the doorstep of, you keep knocking on the door. That's what we always say as a program. You got to keep finding ways to keep getting there, keep setting that standard, keep knocking on the door. And here we are with more chances to knock on the door this year.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what you look for, right? Teams just need to get a seat at the table, then you never know what could happen.
That's what you always say, seat on the table. And
yeah,
of course,
at the table.
And in football, you got to be the top 16. Division one is pretty easy to do because there's only 17 teams in the region. So
we don't unfortunately have any Division One right now.
Man, that'd be that one team that didn't make it.
Oh man, you get that one team. The one team we represent is the 17th team that doesn't make it. Oh man. No, I mean, but we have plenty of teams that I feel like have a shot at making that kind of run in multiple sports in just the fall. So stay tuned to it, folks. We talked with Sarah Lowe earlier in the show. She's going to be a YSN All-Star volleyball coach too for that YSN All-Star volleyball game this year. That's going to be fun. First one ever. So stay tuned to volleyball season. That way you could follow along with the All-Stars and the seasons they're having. Great volleyball talent in this area as well, and it's only getting better.
We shout out some sports that have a good chance of maybe getting a state championship. some other teams that I think when I'm thinking soccer, and well, soccer, we've had someone in the state tournament for the last, it feels like for a decade we've had at least someone get into that state tournament. I know it's not exactly a decade, but I think it's the last 5 or 6 years we've had someone in at least the state semifinals. So soccer is really good in the area. Main point. I think one of the front runners, because Howland lost a lot, Howland's obviously going to be in the conversation. I think Cardinal Mooney has a good chance on the boys' side to make a deep tournament run.
It's going to be fun to see. I mean, Coach doing a great job over there with Mooney, and I mean, they play a tough schedule year in and year out, so they're more than prepared come the tournament to make a run.
And I also think on the girls' side, I think we have a Canfield team that has a pretty good shot of making a deep run.
Canfield will have a probably solid shot too as well. I mean, Canfield always has a good soccer program for as long as I can remember.
Well, they've had the same coach for 24 years, so
yeah, it's
that's not talk about stability.
Yeah, and you love to see it because I mean it's nice to see in a multitude of sports too, but definitely one of the longer tenured soccer coaches I think in this area.
Their boys team has under a new realm. Our good friend Mike Bailey is taking over Canfield, moving from Salem to the Canfield boys side, and he will be helming up that end of soccer. We can't wait to have him on the show.
Yeah, always a great interview with Mike Bailey.
Stay even, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna get him on the show soon. We also have a new soccer coach confirmed for next week. Kelsey Benyo from South Range Girls Soccer will officially be on the show next Tuesday at 12:30. So look forward to that. We have 3 guests lined up for you tomorrow. One more guest for you today. It's Waterloo's boys coach, Ricky. Help me with the
Paulinori is what I think it is.
Paulinari?
I think it's Paulinori is what it is.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Paulinori. Okay. We got that. Paulinori. He'll be coming on the show at 1:30 to talk with us for, I think, the first time. I don't think we caught him last year.
I don't believe we did either. So, I mean, we're knocking down a lot of the Vikings.
We false. Are. And once again, we thank their administration for helping us set those up as well. Not just Coach DeVries, but also Coach Longenecker, who has taken up that assistant AD spot. We thank them all for helping us get a hold of those coaches and get them on the show and get their programs some love as well. So we'll have that and more coming up next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
We are Kent State in the Valley. Start and finish one of more than 25 bachelor's or associate degree programs, or start one of Kent State's 280 majors. With low tuition, public, and plenty of scholarship opportunities, we will help you maximize your education and minimize student debt. Enjoy the benefits of a smaller campus with all the opportunities of a large university. Save money, stay close to home. Apply today by visiting kent.edu/Trumbull.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist.
With our combined 70 years experience, WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit WRSwealth.com. Good luck, athletes!
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
reliability, innovation, scale. These 3 values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
It's a new year at Acura of Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi with huge savings on over 350 fully inspected vehicles. We have cars, trucks, SUVs, minivans, and work vehicles. We don't have it, our team will find it. We aim for 100% credit approval with payments as low as $99 per month. And as always, we'll pay top dollar for your trade. For a great vehicle and a great experience, come see why everyone is stopping by at Acura Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
You know, being able to have success on the football field and the basketball court and just every aspect of, my sports career is now documented. One of the greatest things about high school sports is to be able to talk about it for the rest of your life and to look back on the days with my buddies whenever we would have some battles, whether it was with, our rival or just another game. And I could go back and look at it and, not only myself, but my family members, my teammates, and it's something that will last a lifetime. My name is Parker Sherry, and my sports network is your sports network.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hart, along with Ty Bartell. We're going to be joined by Ricky Apollinori, the head coach of the Waterloo's boys soccer team, joining us live on the show. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Coach, first and foremost, what I like to just always start off with is let's just take a chance to meet the team, some of the big names you expect to be contributing for the Viking soccer squad this year, and some newer names that you think might have a chance of making an impact.
Oh, great. I'm real excited to see some of these players show up on the field this year. I'm excited for my co-captain, Max Newkirk, playing out of the back, and Gabe Jones, he's my captain. I have a new player. He's been away on vacation. I'm excited to see him play. He hasn't played in several years, but I had an opportunity to see him at one practice, and his name is Mason Schweitzer. I'm real excited for him. And my other co-captain is Isaac Biltz. He's a junior, and he's had some club experience, and he's really comfortable with the ball. He's going to be playing out of the center midfield this year. So those are the three top players that I can think of right now that I'm really excited to see at our first game.
You got this summer schedule, and you have scrimmages coming up before the first game of the season a little bit later in August. What are some team goals that you have for these last couple of weeks together, and what do you want to see accomplished before the season kicks off later on in the month?
Well, it's been a work in progress since I'm new to them and they're new to me, and I wanted to see overall improvement and to see us gelling together. Um, overall, I know Waterloo over the years has, I believe, they haven't had any winning seasons, and our goal is to get that one game over the hump this year, at least to have a winning season. We want to be extremely competitive, and we want to have some of those games that there was a big gap between the scoreboard that we can close that gap. So those are some of our goals this year overall as a team.
What is it about coaching that you love so much, and why was it that Waterloo boys soccer you saw as the best fit for you?
Well, I've been in the youth program, and it's been several years since I've been in coaching, actually. But I was in a youth program in another area for several years, involving my children, and I decided to get back into coaching here this past year. And I was looking for something for a school that was small, somewhere that's near my home, and in the area. And that's a couple of things that attracted me to Waterloo.
And when you look at this community as a whole, we know Waterloo takes their sports very seriously. It's kind of like its own little bubble. What makes this community so unique and so special in the time that you've been able to spend with them?
I've been able to connect with the assistant coach. I've been able to connect with these kids. They're from like a rural area, and that's where I kind of came from in the youth area. The parents have been very supportive. We have a fair coming up, the Portage County Fair, and getting parents to join in and help out. We've got a little pep rally, pizza party getting ready to kick off here in a few weeks, and all the parents are excited to support the kids. So that's one thing I see that the parents are committed and the kids are committed.
What can this community expect from you as a coach and expect from this team going into this season?
What you're going to expect from me is commitment to them. Not knowing any of these parents or these kids coming into it, I give a full 110% commitment, to coming up with some practice plans and ideas, being organized for our games, our game day, and helping, trying to organize, some food preparation for the boys before some of the games. So you're going to get a total commitment from me. You're also going to get a lot of enthusiasm. I feel like I bring a spark to the practice field. Make games challenging. So that's one of the big expectations that parents can expect from me.
Let's let the community get to know you a little bit. How did you kind of fall into soccer, and what made you fall in love with this sport and made you want to coach it?
My children are in their 20s now. So I started in the youth program in another area, around 20 years ago. And then my daughter was a little bit more serious into it, and she played for the Soccer Vision Academy for several years. And I was able to just observe and bring back some of the same flavor, the same goals, the same mentality to the area I was coaching in for the youth. And I've seen a great success at the high school level with those kids that played, that I had the opportunity to be part of coaching when they were at their youth level. So I'm trying to bring in that same philosophy and an idea and ideas during our training sessions. Hopefully it'll show during the game day.
What are some of these games on your schedule that you're excited for the boys to have an opportunity to test themselves against? Obviously, you have your conference games on there, but what are some non-conference ones you're excited about?
A couple games just that stick out without looking at the conference or non-conferences. One is West Branch. That's where my kids went to school. So I want to make sure we have a good showing during we play West Branch. And Crestview,
looking at their record last year and their score against Waterloo, very dominating, and I want to be able to close that gap and make that game, a lot more competitive. So it's two games that really just stick out for me, and we've talked about it a little bit as a team.
A lot of soccer coaches have different philosophies. How would you define your coaching philosophy that you bring to this sport and changes that Waterloo should be able to expect to see in their team?
Well, I want to I want to be able to play an indirect style of soccer and keep possession of the ball. I want to be able to move the ball sideways and backwards and forwards, not just kick it directly downfield. That's the goal. That's the things that we try to train, and I'm hoping that we can bring that type of style into the game. Also, I see some levels of play in high school, the players are afraid to play to their keeper, and I see that in practice, and we've talked about it. They're just afraid of scoring on themselves, and mistakes are we make mistakes. These teenagers make mistakes, these players make mistakes, and it's okay. And I want to have that same mentality when it comes game day. They're going to make mistakes, and in the game of soccer, it's fluid. There's no time to fix things. You just got to brush it off and just keep playing. But I want to play the game the way it's supposed to look. That's my goal.
We're more than familiar with West Branch athletics and how close knit that community is and how serious they take their sports. Did you see it beneficial being as a coach now, coming from a community like that? And what are some highlight things that you've learned being shaped from West Branch?
Well, I was part of the girls' youth program for a long time there, and the girls had a unique competitive edge about them, and the coaches that were involved in it at the high school were very competitive. They know how to win games. They know how to win tight games, and I'm hoping I can bring some of that sort of mentality to Waterloo.
What have you noticed already about this team that kind of sticks out to you, especially the identity of it and how they get along and some of the culture things that they bring to the table?
The boys, they're very close and very supportive of each other. You obviously there's no JV there, and the kids range from grade 9 to grade 12, and they all are very supportive. They all have different levels of play with their abilities, but they really support one another from top to bottom.
Coach, I also want to give you the opportunity to shout out some of your assistants that you have and some of the other things that are really making this Waterloo soccer program go.
I apologize. That came across extremely garbled. I couldn't hear that.
No, I just wanted you to shout out some of your assistants and some of the other big names in the Waterloo program.
And Ty, you got something up with your mic. I think what Ty's wanted to ask is to give you the chance to shout out your assistant staffs and the people you have behind you that are making this Waterloo program what it is.
Well, first I'm going to thank the athletic director, Mike DeVries. He's been extremely supportive. He's the one who's given me the opportunity to coach this year. So that's number one. Number two, his new assistant athletic director is Kevin Longenacker, and he's helped me through this process. There's a lot of paperwork, things that I wasn't aware of, just keeping me busy in the evenings. And my assistant coach, Kyle Biltz, he's coached in Waterloo for a long time. He's built a connection with these kids. He knows a lot of these players. So bringing him, alongside of me has been very, very helpful. And maybe, if so, the goal is to keep the soccer program alive in Waterloo, with coaches and people like Kyle Biltz, and maybe bringing back some of those certain styles that I may have if he likes it, and bringing that down to the youth levels.
And yeah, I think you brought up a good point with the youth levels. And what are some goals that you have for building the youth soccer level in Waterloo and trying to keep this program going throughout the years?
Well, bringing Kyle Biltz on, I think is very helpful. He's part of the youth program, and I haven't had the opportunity yet to meet any of the youth coaches yet. But it starts with bringing him on, and trying to keep enough kids involved in Waterloo and creating, keeping teams and also encouraging kids to play at other club levels if we can. So I'd like to see that. There's a lot of benefit to playing to the clubs, um, in the area, and so I'm hoping I can encourage that down the road.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and helping us preview Waterloo boys soccer season. We look forward to our continued coverage of you guys, and we hope to have you on again real soon to talk about hopefully some success this season.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
That was Rick Pollinari, the head coach of the Waterloo boys soccer team, joining us on Running Point live on the show. Anthony Hartwig with Ty Bartell. Ty, we apologize for the microphone issues you were having there, but we got through it.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but reset the mic and updated whatever I needed to. So I guess we're good.
You sounded like Darth Vader for a minute.
Yeah, I guess it just needed an update. It updated, so we're
updated. Good thing it updated pretty quickly. Can you imagine it was like one of those ones that's like your computer needs to update? Here, wait 25 minutes.
I've had that happen before.
I know we have.
So
I've had it happen in a game. You're sitting there, you're like, okay, the camera froze. We have to restart the computer, and the computer's like, hey, while we're restarting, let's update Windows, and it's going to take about an hour. Good luck.
Yeah, it's like, well, all right, that stinks.
All right, you do you. No, we are excited. We want to thank all of our guests that were able to come on today. We want to thank Justin Kosick, Sarah Lowe, Heather Guthrie, and then of course Coach Pollinari for coming on for coming on as well, head coach of the Waterloo boys soccer team. That, like the girls' side, looking for some new energy and new blood and a brand new coach, and hoping to turn things around a little bit for the Waterloo boys team.
Yeah, Waterloo really taking the steps to improve themselves as a entire school and improve all the programs within it. And it starts with this fall, too. We talked with Mike DeVries on the football side. Now we talk with the other two football coaches, I guess you would say, too. The soccer coaches, football for the boys and girls side now. So we're excited for the upcoming season.
In our last commercial break, we heard from Storm Tracker 21 and their commercial. And I want to take a look at it because we do have some storms coming into the area today, and want to make sure that everyone keeps track on Storm Tracker 21 WFMJ. Eric Wilhelm is doing a good job keeping an eye on things right now. He tweeted out about an hour ago that there are some storms pocketing in the Canfield area that you should be watching out for. And we thank them as always for all their hard work. I told you last week, I think it was last Tuesday, we had storms overnight, and it was like right as I was going to bed, they came on live, Storm Tracker 21. I was like, why are they live at 1:00 in the morning? And then I popped it on, and it was like, you have a tornado watch. So obviously you can't go to bed after knowing that. So I want to thank them someone had to go on live at 1:30 a.m. and just sit there and just kind of keep everyone updated on what the storms were doing. That's not exactly what you sign up. Well, it might be what you sign up for, but when you're thinking about dream jobs, I don't think a lot of people are saying, man, I can't wait to get up at 1:30 a.m. and talk about storms to, maybe, the 30 people that are still awake right now. That's not exactly what when you're a little kid and you're dreaming of your dream jobs, but that is some of the stuff that a lot of people maybe don't have respect for, that the team over at Storm Tracker 21 does without hesitation. They keep all of us safe by doing that kind of stuff, because they keep us updated on the storms that are coming in. So there is a little bit of storm action coming into the area. So make sure you keep track of Storm Tracker 21 WFMJ. Pun very much intended on that one.
Yeah. So stay tuned to Storm Tracker 21 WFMJ. They do a great job over there, and 21 does a great job as well. Make sure you're tuning in for their Muscle Connection previews of high school teams as well. They do a phenomenal job with that.
Yes, you can find a full list of their schedule on the 21 WFMJ website on the sports tab. And you can find a whole list of their Muscle Connection preview schedule. They did South Range a couple of days ago. That was a fun interview with Coach Yeagley that they got on their website. And you can also find their past Muscle Connection high school football previews, if you missed them, also on their website in their full entirety as well. So make sure to check out WFMJ.com or download the WFMJ app for more of that fun content that they're able to put up on their sports team, by their sports team, I should say.
Yeah, do a phenomenal job, no doubt. Does WFMJ and deep in what are you trying?
Mike, I think this probably came on during the interview and I didn't see it.
Mike DeVries.
Ty, you're breaking up. I can see Mike DeVries. Ty, you're breaking up.
Surprised he didn't give me a ring on the phone to let me.
Ty, you still lurks. You're breaking up.
Oh no! Needed to update the mic. Needed to update my mic, Mike. We're all good. No, love that Waterloo community, and I can't wait for the upcoming fall season. I have to make my way down there and catch all those guys a couple of times.
Some of the young generation might not get this, but that's like that scene in Airplane where it's like, Roger.
Yeah.
What's your vector, Victor?
Need to get my
Shirley,
mic.
You don't mean that. Yes, I do. And quit calling me Shirley.
You reminded me of that too, and it just lined up way too well.
The best part of that whole movie is when the one woman is going absolutely hysterical, and there's like a line of people with progressively more intense weapons ready to slap her to make her snap out of it. Like the one guy's like, I'll take care of this. And then the next guy like has a bat, and the next guy has nunchucks, and then a knife, and then a gun. Is like, geez.
I'll take care of you.
I'll take care of this.
We're excited. It looks like too the boys soccer team is going to be opening up with Canton South on the road, and they're going to have a few road matchups.
The schedule I'm looking at, Ty, has quite a few home road games to open up the season. I think 6 in a row, if I'm not mistaken, before they have their home opener for Waterloo. Their home opener, as far as I am seeing, is going to be against Mineral Ridge on September 14th.
And it could be, and I mean, give it or take it for what it's worth, I guess. But it could be because they're trying to make sure that field that they're going to be playing on is in good enough condition and is in playing. It could just be giving them more time to get things ready. But when is their first football game? I got to check that too.
Well, it's got to be the 18th or 19th, right?
Well, first game I know, but when is their first home game?
First home game
is what I'm curious about to see, because it could just be to give more time. No, because they lead off home with United. So, I mean, it could be, though, because they don't play many home games in well, let me see this.
The soccer schedule I'm looking at only has 4 home games on the season for Waterloo.
So it could have been just scheduling issues too. It could be scheduling issues with the football team. I don't know if they play though. If they play the soccer, I think they play the soccer on the football field.
They're home against the schedule I'm looking at. Home against Mineral Ridge, home against LeBray. They have a home game against Newton Falls and a home game against Brookfield. Everything else on their schedule that I'm seeing is on the road.
Just road warriors, I guess, are the Vikings then this season. And hey, I mean, we've seen
now
like that.
The schedule I have in front of me has 15 games on it, so you're allowed to play 22. So there might be some games added to Waterloo's schedule in the next couple weeks.
There very well could be. And just looking at the football, I believe that they open up the season. Yeah, they do. They open up the season versus United at Waterloo High School. So yeah, they're already scheduled first week of the season, that opening Friday against United.
So we'll see how the boys and girls soccer season goes. Still have to try to track down Coach Franks for the volleyball program at Waterloo. But once we do, we can put a big check mark next to Waterloo Sports because we will have all their coaches taken care of.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to get that preview too, we already talked with Coach Mike DeVries too on that United matchup coming up against the Eagles. So he previewed that matchup, and he also previewed the Waterloo Vikings. You can find that on a YouTube page. You would have
corrected myself. Soccer is different than volleyball and basketball. It is actually 17 game limit for regular season in soccer.
I was gonna say I thought it was 17, but I didn't want to say it because I wasn't 100% sure on it. But I thought it might have been a little bit lower. It's 20.
We have a good source that likes to make sure we're on the right track during Running Point that gives us some corrections every now and then. So 17 soccer games.
I had a
in
feeling
August.
it was a little bit lower, but I wasn't 100%. I believe it's 22 for your basketballs, 22 for your volleyballs. Those sports are 22. I think
Hey,
softball, baseball are 22 as well.
we're open about we were open about it last year. We're still learning. So soccer, we're trying to dive deep into the coverage, but we're still soccer elementary soccer fans.
I mean, as people ever notice too, we keep adding on schools, but when we add on schools, that's adding on like 12 teams
Right.
that we need to get acclimated with. We need to know the names of too. So forgive us too if we slip up on a name. I'm sure there's plenty of times where I've slipped up on a name, a school, or a stat here and there. We try to be 100% as close as we can, but there's a lot more names that need to go in the old noggin year in and year out.
Back to the question of the day on social media, which is, what team do you think has the best chance to win a state championship in the 2022-2023 academic school year? We have some love for West Branch girls basketball, and we also have some love for another girls basketball team in Canfield, and then also love for Liberty in girls basketball. And we know Liberty's bringing back a lot as well. All those teams have a good shot. Two of them got into regionals last year with West Branch and Liberty, and Canfield bringing back a lot. I know they lost Alyssa Dill, and they lost a couple of other seniors. I think Deanna Mike was a senior, but they are bringing back a lot of talent as well.
They definitely are, and I mean, I'm excited for those teams.
I know you love hearing basketball teams get mentioned because you're probably just itching for basketball to start because that's your favorite sport.
I am, and I'm excited for basketball season. And I mean, we're already on the Waterloo train. How can I not be? I mean, Waterloo going down to Division 4. I mean, Roger, there's a problem because Rose Cow, English, they're returning the entire team that made them good. And I mean, any other names on top of that 6-girl squad that they essentially worked with last year, 7-girl squad that they were essentially working with a large part of the season with. I mean, any other addition is just going to push you on up. I mean, and the biggest thing was, too, in that game that they unfortunately fell to against Liberty, Carrie English was injured, too. She wasn't 100%. She really didn't play that whole game. Getting her back for a full season, it's Rose Cout's senior season. That's going to be exciting as well. I'm excited for the Vikings.
Both those players will be featured on the soccer pitch. Rose Couts and Carrie English, both on that team. They're both very good at soccer. So
they're phenomenal athletes. I mean, those two in soccer and basketball, I think, have intertwined so well for those two because they're able to read the court so much better Yeah, I mean, the speed, just filling in lanes and just they do a great job. They're phenomenal athletes all the way through.
You just brought up a good point that I don't think people really think about. I think soccer really helps you with, if you're translating soccer to basketball, one of the things that probably helps you with is court awareness and being able to visualize the court. Because if you can read a soccer field, which is much wider and longer than a basketball court, if you can make reads on that, then you can definitely make reads on a basketball court.
That's why you see so often, too, it's both Carrie English and Rose Counts that just get to the other side of the court to transition defense because they're able to fill the lanes. They're able to cut off that ball so easily. And I got to figure it's because of that soccer experience because they're both talented on the field.
That's a very good point, Ty. Bravo, man. I never thought about that correlation between soccer and basketball until right now.
Yeah, and I think it's just a lot of lane filling too. And I mean, you look at defense, backpedaling on defense a lot. We see the soccer players do. And I mean, it just also, I think, helps with attacking wise. And Carrie English has said that in quite a few interviews too about how soccer has helped her with just basketball wise, attacking the baskets, finding those holes, and just reading how defenses move because it's pretty similar in how they're trying to cut you off, cut the ball off, cut the passes off. It's fairly similar. You're just using hands instead of feet.
Well, she has a real chance to quite possibly break 200 goals in her career before it is over. She's sitting at 93 right now going into junior season.
Junior season, too. She's unbelievable.
Broke the school record for single season goals in a year last year with 54. 39 her freshman season. You add that up, that's 93. And going for it again. Here we go. Let's see can Carrie English break her own record this year?
Putting some English on it is what I always say.
I think it's going to be hard to break your own record because now, like we said with Coach and like we said after that conversation, she's going to be circled like 7 times.
Absolutely. You have to. You can't let her beat you, right?
I mean, coming into It's impressive. 39 freshman year, that's impressive. She was probably circled quite a bit, but I don't think she got as much attention last year as she is going to get this year after a 54 goal season.
You're averaging over 3 goals a game, like at that
What?
pace. Like that's over 3 goals a game. You're looking at that, and it's just like if she's able to do that, like that's someone that could single-handedly beat you.
By the way, just got informed, the state record for career goals in soccer and girls soccer is 192.
I was gonna say that too, and I was told too. I think it was by Mike DeVries, Lee Horning, those guys at Waterloo. Like they are adamant that she can very well break the state record for goals, and she could hold that. And imagine her having that. That's why I said like she is a real deal athlete. That definitely.
She is actually 6 goals away from being halfway there, halfway to the record. Because right now, if she doubled her input in the next 2 years, she'd be at 186. So she is 6 goals from halfway to a state record.
She's impressive, man. She is impressive. Only going into her junior year as well.
Of course, knock on wood, you stay healthy, you have a good chance to break that, in my opinion.
I think so as well. And like I can't sing her praise enough. I mean, like I said, the perfect blend of honest speed and just power too. She generates so much power, and I mean she does it with being so quick too. She outruns so many people on the basketball court. She does it on the soccer field as well. And she does it while also packing a punch every time she makes contact with you. You feel it.
Oh, and by the way, she's not the last English that you're going to have to deal with.
No, she's not. There's more in that program.
There is definitely more. We want to take the time to thank our guest once again for coming on today. Justin Kosick, the head coach of the Springfield girls soccer team. Sarah Lowe, head coach of Beaver Local Volleyball. Heather Guthrie, the head coach of the Lakeview Volleyball team. And then, of course, Ricky Pollinori. Pollinori. I don't know why I am struggling with that today. Pollinori, the head coach of Waterloo Boys Soccer, coming on as well. Thank them all for their time and their wonderful effort, their time they put in to coach these wonderful student athletes that we'll be able to cover all season. We wish them the best of luck in their future seasons as they go on to play in the fall 2020 season. So tomorrow we have another busy day as far as guests go. We'll have 3 volleyball coaches on the show tomorrow, Ty. We're going to start with Michael Klockner, and he'll come on at 12:30. Then Michael Klockner, McDonald Volleyball, by the way. Then we'll have Jennifer Martin, the head coach of Columbiana Volleyball, who got a shout-out in Coach Lowe's interview. And then we'll have Coach Auer from Crestview. Alicia Auer comes on at 1 o'clock tomorrow to talk some volleyball in Crestview. So 3 really good coaches, 3 really good programs in Division III and lower on the show tomorrow from right in a row from 12:30 to 1. So don't miss that and more on tomorrow's show. We're going to take a 22-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 2. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. Power Hour from 3 to 4. And that'll get you set up for the night. Once again, Scrappers playing tonight. They lost the series opener last night, so they'll try to bounce back tonight if the weather holds up. Once again, keep track of Storm Tracker 21 WFMJ on whether or not that storm's going to roll in and whether or not you should be prepared for it if you are going out to Niles to Eastwood Field. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. This was Thursday's episode